Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our spotlight session for today. I hope everybody can see my screen and hear me clearly. I think it's just online now, so I think we can get started. I hope everybody found it easy logging into the meeting and didn't have any issues. So welcome to our open license user functionality spotlight session that we're going to be having today. My name is Jade Hirilal, and I will be presenting our spotlight session for today. Okay, so we will be recording this session and you will have access to the video on our BarnOwl website in a few days. You can utilize the recording for future use or to guide you through the steps that I'll be demonstrating today, or you can share it with some of your colleagues that were unable to attend our meeting this morning. Okay, so please note that your mics have been muted just to limit background noise, but later this morning, we will unmute all of the mics for our Q&A session, where we'll answer any questions relating to the event or presentation that we will be having today. Okay, you're also welcome to post any questions in the chat box during the presentation, and these will either be responded to by one of my colleagues during the session or will be addressed later on this morning when we look at our Q&As. All right, so I'm going to turn off my camera now and then we can get started. Okay, so I will be taking you guys through our agenda first to get started, just so that we know what we're going to be looking at. And as you know, we are going to be focusing on free user functionality today. We're going to look at how you can get the most out of BarnOwl by taking advantage of BarnOwl's open license, which is, of course, available to all users in your organization at no cost. During this session, we will look at a brief introduction to free user functionality. We'll then look at the benefits of free user functionality and how to best use these as licensed and open license users. We'll do this with the focus on action plans, voting, and audit findings. When it comes to action plans, we're going to look at creating action plans, so for the licensed users, and then responding to action plans for the open license users. With voting, we'll be looking at creating votes for the licensed users and responding to votes for the open license users. And when it comes to audit findings, we'll look at generating an import sheet, which licensed users can do, and then commenting on findings or any other fields, and that'll be for the open license users. Then we're going to end off with a brief conclusion, and we're going to look at our Q&As. We'll have a bit of a Q&A session at the end where we will have a look at any questions that weren't answered in the chat box and any new questions that you may have by the time we reach the end of our session. Okay, so let's move over to our introduction. Let's get started there. Open license or free users are the individuals at your organization who do not have BarnOwl licenses. So these are people at your company that don't have a BarnOwl Light license, a Rich license, an Incident license, compliance license, or audit license. BarnOwl allows limited functionality for everyone at your company who doesn't have a BarnOwl license at no additional cost. This session aims to help you make the most of these free licenses to the benefit of your organization by looking at some of the different ways that you can incorporate these users into BarnOwl. Your open license users or free users are able to receive and respond to action plans, including viewing any documentation that you attach to the action plan, providing feedback and progress notes, and attaching documents. They can also receive and respond to votes, questionnaires, and surveys, including viewing any documentations that you attach to a vote, attaching documents and comments, and creating action plans from within a vote. They are also able to receive and update finding exports from BarnOwl. Okay, so now we're going to look at how you can benefit from open licenses as a licensed user. To get started, we will have a look at some of the main or the top ways that you can benefit with your free license users at your company. As a licensed user, you can make use of action plans to delegate tasks. So that your users that do not have licenses can still receive these and respond to them. You are able to attach documents to action plans, and your free users are easily able to view these documents and attach documents of their own in turn. Many companies report on action plans or action items and their progress. Free users can provide feedback on action plans as progress notes, as well as providing their percentage complete status. You are also able to have free users contribute towards the upkeep of your register through voting. BarnOwl allows free users the ability to vote on ratings of items in your register, and for you as a licensed user and the creator of the vote to pull through those ratings directly into your register. As an auditor, you can also receive management comments, management action items, or management action due dates from free users populated directly into your finding spreadsheet, which you can easily import into BarnOwl, and it will then populate the finding form within your audit project. Okay. So let's look at the functionality in more detail. We're going to start with action plans. All right, we'll focus first on the functionality available to the licensed user, and then we'll move over to that of the open license user. So I'm just going to go across to my BarnOwl screen over here. All right, let's have a look at creating an action plan and assigning it to a free user. Okay, so most of you already know how this works and you know most of the steps. There are also user guides, our online manual that guide you through the steps with screenshots. So we won't waste too much time going through each and every step individually. But to create an action plan and assign it to your free user, you're obviously going to select your unit. I will be using my France HR unit over there. Then you will go to your register. I'm going to go to my risk register and I will expand my my unit, the risk that I've chosen, which is going to be lack of appropriate training over there. And then I'm going to choose the control on the job mentoring. Okay, so I am now going to link an action plan to this control by going to create/link action plans to controls. All right, so here's our library, which you obviously know you can search to see if the action plan is in here. Remember, with action plans, it's not like getting a copy from the library. It's actually linking, looking at action plans that are already in the system and linking in them. I'm going to click on capture a new action plan to create a brand new one. I will add my title of my action plan over here. Okay, so create training process document. If you have a reference, you'll put it in there, a description or additional information on the task that you would like people to, or the person that you're going to be assigning it to complete. And then you've got your current status, summary, status, and percentage complete fields, which would, which would be populated usually by the user who receives the action plan or receives the task. Okay, then you've got your end date and your start date, which you as the creator of the action plan would obviously need to populate. I'm just going to extend my due date. So my start date is by default the date that I've created my action plan. You can change that as well by using the calendar icon. And then I've updated my end date. Progress notes as well. We'll look at shortly from the free user perspective, how you can then update and populate your progress notes as well. Okay, and then here at the bottom, it's very important that you will assign your free user or whoever it is you would like to provide or assign this action plan to. It's important that you add them as an owner onto the action plan. Okay, but before we get into that, I actually want to highlight something with regards to progress notes. Okay, so as a licensed user, you will be sending this action plan to one of your free users. Remember, free users and licensed users can all receive action plans, but I'm just focusing a little bit more on the free users today. Okay, so you could then assign your action plan to the free user and they can provide progress notes. The system, BarnOwl in the server management console, does allow you to make action plans mandatory. Okay, and if you do that, if someone tries to save and close after they've updated their percentage complete without populating a progress note, then it will give them a pop-up to say that you need to complete this field because it's made progress notes a mandatory field, and they'll be forced to provide a progress note before being able to save and close. Okay, so just to quickly have a look at where you would make that change, I'm just going to close this for now and then go to my server management console just so that you could see. Okay, so in your server management console, remember you need to be an administrator in order to make these backend changes. So in the server management console, within the general setup tab, you would go to your action plans, and then you could go to your progress notes and click on that over there and make sure that enforce progress notes is ticked. Okay, so if you don't tick that box, progress notes is not mandatory. It's still going to be there, but it's not going to force people to provide a progress note after updating their percentage complete or altering their status. Okay, so if you want that to be in effect, then you need to make sure that you've ticked that box. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to my risk management screen where I am adding my action plan. All right, so those are the details that I've added in over there. And then, like I said, you need to add an owner. So I will right click, click on owner, and then you will add the person or the people who will be working on this. All right, so I'm just going to add a couple of names and then click on OK. All right, and then we do have the option to add an owner type to these items as well, which is very helpful if you have more than one person working on an action plan. Okay, so you could then indicate who is going to be the responsible person, who's accountable, who's consulted and informed. And remember, within BarnOwl, all of our items that appear in drop downs, they like these ones or categories or anything within all the different forms, statuses, all of these items, they can be customized in the server management console. Okay, so with owner types as well, you can add your own owner types. Some companies have added risk manager or risk champion in here. The system it's easy to adjust certain things within the system to suit what you need as a company. Okay, so these are some of the fields that can be altered or changed as well in the server management console. Okay, so once you've added yourself as an owner, you can then save your form and close it. Now, another thing that you need to remember as well is that all BarnOwl's forms have this More tab. And the More tab is a tab for custom fields. So if there are any additional fields that you would like to incorporate in your action plans or additional information that you require from your free users, you can add fields for that in your More tab. Okay, so like if you need a POE, you can add a field for that. If you want to add priority, you add a field for that, or additional information, you can add a field for that. And BarnOwl allows you to choose different types of fields as your custom fields. You've got checkboxes, you've got drop downs, you've got multi-line text boxes. You can basically decide what it is you need to include in your More tab where your custom fields are located, and then add that in and make use of it over there. Okay. Another important point to note is that in our forms of BarnOwl, you can attach documents, but you won't see the document attachment icon appear until you've saved your form. Okay, so if I save and close my action plan because I've completed the information, then you see that's when the document attachment icon appears there. Okay, so I'm going to go back into my action plan, which is linked to the control, double click on it, and you can see there's now that document attachment icon over here. All right, and you can attach any document to this description field. So if you wanted to attach a template related to the task that needs to be completed or additional information or anything like that, you could just go to this document attachment icon and click on it, and then go to attach documents, look for the document that you would like to attach, click on it and click on open, and that document will be attached there. Then you can click on save and close, and your free user will also be able to view that document that you attached to the action plan. Okay, so you can do that over there as well. And you can see this POE field, which is a custom field that I created. It's also a document attachment field. So I can attach a document over there, or my free user can attach a document over there when they are attending to this action plan. Okay, so I'm going to click on save and close. I've populated everything that I need to, and my action plan has now been created. Once you, as the licensed user, have created your action plan, this will now be sent through to whoever you've assigned it to, including free users. Because they don't have access to BarnOwl and an app or the web version, they will receive an email, all right? And the email will provide all the details that they need to complete the action plan. So I'm just going to go to an email so that you can all have a look and see what that looks like. Okay, so here is my emails over here. Okay, as you can see, this is the notification that will come through when an action plan has been assigned to you. All right, so it will have the title of the action plan. It tells you that this is a notification. You have been assigned as the owner of the action plan, and it gives you the action plan's title. It's then got the title, the start date, the end date. It will let you know what status it's currently in, and percentage complete, who originated or created the action plan. If there is a description, it will be populated in there, and then the owners of the action plan, or those who will be attending to the action plan, they'll be listed there as well. As you scroll down within your action plan notification, you will see a URL link. Okay, so your free users will receive this email notification. They will just click on that URL link, and then it will open up BarnOwl for them in a web page. Okay, so I'm just going to go to my web page so that you can have a look and see what that looks like. And I'm just going to minimize. Oh, there it is. Okay. That's what happens when you have too many screens open. Okay, there it is. So it'll open up on my other screen. So I'm just going to go there. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It'll take you directly through to your action plan. Okay, otherwise it may take you to a login page where it will log you in based on your Windows credentials. Okay, so you will just click on it and it will open up the action plan. So your free user will go directly through to the action plan that has been assigned to them, and they'll be able to attend to the action plan over there. Okay, so you can see it's got all those fields that we looked at when we were creating the action plan. The layout is obviously a bit different because now we're on the web version. All right, so we're not going to go into everything that you're seeing on the web version. We do have other spotlight sessions that did cover the look of the new BarnOwl web version, and we will provide links to those different spotlight sessions or articles that are relevant to this as well, so you can get more information on that. Okay, so as you can see, this is what the action plan will look like to your free user. They can view any documents that you've attached by clicking on the documents over here. And if there's a document attached, it will be listed there as well, and they can view it. All right, they can also attach documents from here. So by clicking on documents and going to upload document, your free users can click on select files, go to the document that they would like to attach, click on it and click on open, and the document will be attached there. They can then save it, and you can also view that document that they've uploaded. Okay, so documents uploaded by either you as the licensed user or by your free user will all be listed here under files when clicking on that word that says documents. All right. Then your free user will need to update it as they're working on it. They will obviously provide feedback by using the current status summary field. They can indicate what they're currently busy on, or by using progress notes, they can update as they complete certain steps or certain parts of the task. All right. And the benefit of using the progress notes field is that it also logs everything, almost like a history, like the history parts of our BarnOwl forms, where you can see the time and the date on what's been happening with this particular item. So if I say step 1 complete, and I click on save and close. All right, and then I go out of my action plan. Maybe I'm busy on something else. And when I go back into my action plan again, I'm just going to go to my action plans. You could then click back onto that same link that you used to access your action plan. I'm just going to do that over there. And then it will take you back to your action plan and you can just continue working on it again. Okay, so now you will be working on your action plan. Maybe you've got additional feedback, additional comments. The person who originated the action plan or created it can also click on open notes, and they will see a trail of all of the progress notes as you've been working on the action plan. Okay, so as a licensed user, you can easily go to the progress notes tab over here, click on open notes, and you will see a list of all the progress notes that your user has updated as they've been working on this action plan. And because you've indicated that this should be set to mandatory, if they update their status to say halfway, which then updates the percentage complete as well, they will need to provide a progress note before they are able to save and close. Okay, so if you do not provide a progress note, this is the pop-up that will appear saying progress notes are being enforced. Please enter progress note because it's been made mandatory. Okay, they then need to update this progress note and say whatever it is, second task complete, and then only they will be able to click on save and close. Okay, so it does help to make it mandatory, especially if it is important to you for reporting purposes, then it does help to have that as a mandatory field. Your free users will also be able to make use of extension request. Okay, so as you can see by me hovering over that extension request tab there, it says that extension requests are not allowed because I am an administrator and I can update the end date. Okay, I'm not only the administrator, but I'm also the originator. I can change the end date. So there's no need for me to log an extension request. But your users who are obviously not administrators and did not create the action plan, they will be able to click onto that and to request that the due date be extended. Okay, as the licensed user and the creator of the action plan, you can then choose to either accept their request and allow the due date to be extended, or you can choose to decline the request because maybe this is a crucial deadline and you can't change it. Okay, but it's also important that you guys are aware of the fact that when it comes to the extension request, it's a good idea to go into your server management console and have a look at your settings there as well. Okay, when it comes to extension request, you need to make sure that your completion rules for your action plan are set correctly. So right now I'm in my server management console. Under action plans by completion rules, you can see that we've got default and we've got strict rules and we've got bypass rule setup. All right, so if you have it on default rules, then you will be able to have your extension request available to users when they want to make use of it, because they will not be able to change the start date and the end date. If it's on default rules and you haven't ticked that bypass rule setup. Okay, if you tick allow any user to amend or change an action plan in the bypass rule setup, then that means that your free users are able to update the end date themselves. Okay, so if a free user gets an action plan, or any user for that matter who didn't originate the action plan, even if they're not an administrator and they get an action plan and they feel they're not going to make the deadline, the due date, or anything like that, they can just update the due dates themselves. Okay, and depending on what you would like to do with your action plans, that probably wouldn't be ideal, because then you can't keep track of which of your action plans are overdue because the due date has been updated all of the time. Also, if this is a crucial and important due date and it's now been changed, that could be a problem as well. Okay, so you would probably want to make sure that bypass rule setup has not been ticked in your database, so that it is only the originator or an administrator that can change the due date of your action plans. Okay, so that's just something that you guys should probably be aware of and just keep in mind. All right, I'm just going to go back to my action plan again. There we are. Okay, so you can then update your progress notes, update your percentage as a free user, upload a document, whatever it is you need to do, and then you can click on Save and Close. All right, as the licensed user who created the action plan, as you can see, you can go into your action plan at any time and have a look at the progress notes, see how far along things are with the action plan and how everything is going. All right, so that is basically the important parts of action plans and how you as a licensed user can incorporate your free users and make the most of BarnOwl by using action plans. Okay, so you could create your action plans, and you can also moderate action plans, which we'll look at a little bit later when we look at voting. And then you can you can receive and update action plans as a free user, and free users and licensed users can both attach documents to their action plans as well. All right, so now we're going to move over from action plans to votes. I'm going to move over back to my BarnOwl now so that I can show you guys how to create a vote in BarnOwl. As a bit of a recap for those of you who are already familiar with the process, and for those of you who aren't, this may be helpful to you. I'm going to stay on my unit over here, France. I'm going to go directly to the one that says France, and I'll remain on HR. I'm going to click on the view button over there and then go through to voting template register. Okay, so I am going to be creating a vote, linking it to my HR unit over there. All right, and I do that in my vote template register. All right, remember the help documentation does guide you through the steps of all of this if you do need more information on how to do this. Okay, so in my voting template register, I'm just going to right click and go to capture template. All right, so your templates are where you can create votes on your ratings. So if you would like your users to vote on your control ratings, your risk ratings, any of your ratings, you can use a template and you can then send out all of those items to your users, including your free users. They can then vote on these items by providing ratings, and you can pull those ratings directly through into your register and update your register by using the information provided by your free users. All right, so I'm going to go to create new template and then click on OK. I want my users to vote on my control rating, so I will select control ratings. As you can see, there are other items that your users can vote on as well. Okay, I'm going to name my vote. There we go. And then I'm just going to add the same information into my reference field. All right. Now you can see that you can also customize your vote. If you'd like to make vote on all items mandatory, you will tick that box, which means your users will not be able to submit the vote without rating it. Okay, but you can do that over there by ticking that box. You can also choose to make your vote anonymous or to allow comments. You cannot allow comments while a vote is anonymous. Okay, so you will decide which one is of more importance to you and you will go with that one. All right, so I'm going to allow comments I'm also going to allow action plans. All right, so you see, when you choose to allow action plans, it automatically makes sure that you can moderate action plans. And that's because you are now sending this vote out to free users as well. All right, and with BarnOwl, free users generally can't create action plans. But if you're choosing to allow action plans in your vote, then you are saying that free users will be able to create action plans while voting. So the system allows you the option by default to moderate these action plans so that you are basically approving them before they go live. If you send this out to 50 free users, you're not going to automatically just have 50 action plans that were created all go live and sent to everybody at your company. You will need to approve them and decide which ones you want to go live or accept and which ones you don't. All right, that's what the action plan and moderate action plan options are about. Then you can choose to link items as well and to show supporting evidence. I'm going to tick show supporting evidence. That will allow users to attach a document here. Okay, so if you are sending this vote to your free users and they would like to attach supporting evidence or a document explaining why they voted in a certain way, by ticking this box, you're allowing them to do that. Okay, if you don't tick this box, they will be unable to attach documents during their voting process. Now, automatically by ticking control ratings, I have indicated that I want people to vote on my control effectiveness. If you would like voting done on your control adequacy as well, then you need to tick include control adequacy. All right, and if you include control adequacy, you can tick this box that says vote on control adequacy only. That means votes will not be on control effectiveness, only on control adequacy. If you would like votes on control effectiveness and control adequacy, then you will not tick this box over here. Okay, then you can provide instructions as well. Please answer carefully, or any additional information that you would like to provide, you can list in this box there, and then you'll click on next. Here you can choose which controls or which items you would like to include in your vote. I'm just going to choose all, but you can select either by process or by control rating, sort of like a filter to say you only want the controls to be included where the control effectiveness value is greater than, less than, or equal to a certain rating. Okay, the same goes for the adequacy value. All right, or you could do it with your control processes, and you could say that you only want the controls that are related to a certain process over there. Or you could tick the controls that you would like to include in this vote. BarnOwl also allows you the option to show controls only where a voter is a control owner. All right, and that is actually helpful when it comes to sending out your control ratings to everybody. A little bit later, when we get to looking at what the free user will receive once a vote has been sent to them, we will then look at updating the ratings and the results that you've received from your free users into BarnOwl. Okay, and what the system does is it will take all the ratings for those particular items and then allow you the option to override the ratings that you've got in the system with those ratings that you've received by the votes. If you've added control owners to your controls and you tick the box that says show controls only where voter is a control owner, that will then limit the controls that your users can vote on. They will only be able to vote on controls where they are an owner. Okay, and that will also limit the results that you get back. You will know that the ratings you've received that you are choosing to overwrite into your risk register are the ratings that have been provided directly by the owners of those particular controls. Okay, so that's what this box is over here. If you want to limit the controls that people are going to vote on to allow them only to vote on controls where they are the owner, then you will make sure that you've ticked that box. Otherwise, if you'd like everybody that you're assigning this vote to vote on all of the controls, then you'll make sure that you don't tick that box. Okay, I've selected all controls over there so that all of my controls are ticked. And then you can further customize your vote by choosing to include other items like process path, control information over there, or show your custom fields. You can also filter to show where your control frequency value is equal to default, or if you've got monthly, annually, weekly, you can then, limit it in this filter. And then if you've chosen to include action plans and include comments in your vote, you also have an option to force them. All right, but if you didn't choose to include them, then you will not be able to use these options. I chose to include both action plans and comments. So I can tick the box that says force an action plan when the control effectiveness value is less than partially effective. So if someone says, while they're rating during this vote, if they say this particular control is less than partially effective, they will be forced to create an action plan. All right, so the action plan creation form will automatically open up and they will be able to populate it. All right, so if you would like to do that, then you can indicate when you would like to force an action plan. You can also say and, or you can say or, and then you can indicate over there when the action plan should be created. It works exactly the same way with your comments. You can choose to force an action plan when, or force a comment rather, when someone rates an action, rates a control in a certain way as well. Okay, so the same as with the action plan, just this will be forcing comments and not forcing action plans. All right, and then you can sort your items as well, sort by reference, parent, process, title, any of these items, and then sort by something else and something else as well. And now I'm going to click on next. And let me just fix that over there. Okay, next. All right, this is the page where you add your users. Okay, so now you're going to add everybody that you would like to vote on this item or these items. By clicking on the word add, you can have a look at your list of all of your users in your Active Directory, and you can select who you would like to include on this vote and then click on OK. All right, so you can have as many people as you need to add or add it over here. And then if you're using a reviewer, you can add a reviewer there as well, and then click on next. You also have an option to make your vote recurring, the same as with your action plans. They can be set to recurring as well on your action plan form while you're creating it. You'll then just go to configure recurrence and populate the information there. An important thing to remember when creating your vote is that your status, if you would like that email to go out to your users, you must change your status. Okay, so your votes work the same as with action plans for your free users. Once you have assigned a vote or added your user or users to a vote, they will then receive an email telling them that a vote has been assigned to them and providing them with details similar to the one that we looked at a few minutes ago for the action plan. Okay, we will look at the vote email as well so that you can see what that looks like. But in order for that email to be sent out and for your free users to vote, in order for your vote to go live, you must change your status from created to active. Okay, when it's in created, it's sort of in draft mode almost. So if you want it to go live, you must click on active, and then you are also saying that that notification email can be sent out to your users as well. Okay, then you can indicate the from date and the to date that your vote is going to be running for by clicking on the calendar icon and updating it over there. And then once you've done that, you can click on finished. Okay, both action plans and votes also allow you to escalate to another user, which helps you to manage things a bit better, especially when it comes to action plans. So if you use escalation on an action plan, you're basically indicating that if this action plan is not completed by your user by a certain date, if they haven't reached 50% or 20%, any percentage that you indicate by a certain date, then it should be escalate it to a different user. Okay, so maybe then the different user can take over that action plan, or they can advise you that the initial user is not available. Maybe they're on leave or they're away, and you can then assign the task to somebody else, or you can complete the task yourself. All right, so escalation does help you a lot. And it's very easy to just click on escalate vote or escalate action plan, and then right click and assign it to the person that you would like the escalation to go through. All right, once you've completed everything, you can click on finished and your vote will be created. All right, so I've now created my vote, which means that email will get sent to my free user or all of my users, and they'll be able to vote on this. Okay, so this is the process for creating a vote, and it can only be done by a license holder. We're now going to look at responding to a vote, which our free license users can also do. And then we will come back to BarnOwl, where we'll look at how you as the license holder receive those results back, and how you can update your registers with the results that you've received from your vote. Okay, so I am going to go to my email now so that you guys can see what that email will look like. Okay, so there we go. There are my emails. This would be a vote notification email. It says voting notification. You've been assigned as a voter to the control ratings voting template. It provides you with the title, the name of the vote. It then tells you the start date and the end date. It also tells you the status and provides you with the name of the people who are going to be voting. Okay, obviously you will not know who is voting on a vote as the creator of the vote or as any other user if your vote is anonymous. Okay, so remember, if you make your vote anonymous as a license holder, you will not be able to know who has provided what vote. You won't know who has said inadequate, who has said adequate, who has said effective. All of that will be hidden. You will get the results, but you won't know who the results are associated with. Okay, so I'm just going to click on this link over here, and it takes me directly through to the vote that I have been added to. Okay, so my vote is going to load there. I'll then be able to vote on this over here. I'm just going to wait for it to open. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I'm just going to go to my other notification in the meantime and see if that one will open. Let's go here. Do my vote over there and try and open it there. There we go. Okay, so generally when you click on it, it will take you directly to the vote like this. I am using a bit of a testing training database at the moment, so that's why you get these random errors that pop up, but you shouldn't have this issue in your own environment. Okay, if you do get an error, an issue like that in your own environment, then that's why we have our helpful support team that are always available to help. Okay, so in a case like where you're getting an error or something's not working, you guys should be familiar with the process on contacting your main champion for help. If they cannot help you, then they will send through an email to our support team for assistance, and then we are always more than happy to help. Okay, so once you click on that link, it will bring you straight through to your vote. Okay, as a free user, you will get straight through to your vote, where you'll be able to see everything that you need to respond to and you'll need to vote on. Generally, free users are unable to create action plans, like I said, but if it is enabled by a licensed user in a vote, then a free user is able to create action plans and have them moderated by the licensed user before they go live. Okay, so we have looked at the email, we've clicked on the link, and this is where it will take you. All right, again, same as with the action plans, it should log you in based on your Windows credentials. If you're unable to access anything from the email link that you've gotten, then you need to make contact with your BarnOwl champion or your administrator if that's not you. And then if it's not sorted out, then you can make contact with us to help you. Okay, so this is my vote. We're not going to spend too much time again going through all of these things. We do have help guides and help manuals and training videos and everything on voting specifically. So we can point you in that direction as well if you need additional information or guidance. But this is what your vote would generally look like. Okay, so you can then go to the individual control. You'll click on the drop down under control adequacy and select the rating, the drop down under control effectiveness and select the rating, and you will populate this information in that way. Okay. Now, because I have chosen to add the ability to create an action plan when I was creating this vote, there's this icon over here that says view linked action plans. And this is where you will create your action plan as well. Okay, so if I want to link an action plan as a free user or a user to any of these controls, I will just click onto the action plan over there. All right, and then I will click on Search Action Plan Library. It'll take me through to this action plan register and the library will open again. All right, so I'm not going to select to link any of these action plans here. I want to create a new action plan, so I will click on New Action Plan. All right, and this is where I can create a new action plan as a free user as well. All right, you will just populate all of those fields, indicate your start date and your end date, make sure that everything is complete, and then you will click on save and close, and your action plan will be created. All right, you can go back to your vote by clicking on cast my vote, and it will bring you back to your voting screen over here. Now, I'm going to rate this one over there, and I'm going to say that it is inadequate, and I'm going to say it's ineffective. All right, and then I will be able to go on with my rest of my items, and I will know that one over there, I can add a comment. Okay, so like I said, these over here are for action plans. If you want to create an action plan, you click on View Action Plans, and then you will add your information in there through the Search Action Plan Library. If you want to add a comment, then you'll click on the speech bubble over there, and you will add a comment. Okay. Okay, so I will say, this needs to be investigated. I'll click on confirm. Now I've added a comment over there. Okay, so you can go through, you will go through your vote, providing information on all of your votes and rating all of your items. If you want to attach supporting evidence, a document during your vote as a free user as well, you just click on this icon in the middle over there that says View Linked Documents, and then you can click on the word that says Select Files, look for the document that you would like to attach, and click on Open, and your document will be attached, supporting evidence. Okay, then you can click on Close, and you can see there's one document over there. All right, so you can see there's one action plan over there for that item. You can see with this one being highlighted that there's one comment, and it tells me the comment is this needs to be investigated. And then that one over there tells me that there's one document attached. Okay, so you need to go through everything. If you are not going to vote on an item, then you can select abstain from vote. Okay, so the reason why abstain from vote is an option here is because this vote was not made mandatory. If your vote was made mandatory, then you would have to provide a rating on all of your items. Okay, there will be no option that says abstain from vote. But because I chose to not make this mandatory, it allows me the option to abstain from a vote, and I can then still use abstain from a vote as an answer, as you can see, and then I will be able to submit mine. Okay, but if you didn't make it mandatory, you will not be able to submit it with abstaining. Okay, so I'm just going to provide some ratings on mine. Okay. I've got some information. All right, so I've provided some ratings and then I will click on submit. Okay, now as a free user, you can also export your answers and your results before you close your vote or move on from your vote. Okay, so all you do is you click on export and then you can export it to a PDF, or you can click on control ratings vote report and it will sort of create like a vote for you that will show you what you have voted on the different items. It will display that information for you. Okay, I'm just going to submit my vote first. See if I've closed it. Okay, I'm just going to go back. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to click on submit. Okay, so you see it's telling me that I need to ensure that all my votes are valid. And the reason why is because of the force action plan. Okay, so remember I indicated if someone votes in a certain way, they should be forced to provide an action plan. So here you can see it indicates in red those items where I am forced to provide information. Okay, so I'll say, for example, over there, I'll go in here and I'll create an action plan. New action plan, I'll provide information. Save and close over there. I'm going to go back to my vote screen. I'll create an action plan here as well. Okay, so now I have provided all of my votes and now I'll click on submit. As you can see, it now tells me vote has been submitted successfully. Okay, so you can see also the title of the evidence that I provided. And I can either undo my submission if I've made a mistake or I want to redo something again, or I can have a look at my vote details. I can view my control model. I can also export my results. Okay, so I can export as a PDF. You see it generates the report for me over there, or the vote report. As you can see, because I've submitted my results, I can now see my vote report over there. There you can see it's got the controls and it provides me with the ratings that I've provided. Sometimes you may need to send this information through to your manager or somebody for record keeping. Okay, so it's always a good idea to maybe generate the report or to generate the PDF and save it in case you do need it for future. Okay, so you do have an option to do that as well, all right, by making use of those exports. All right, so once you're done and you've submitted your vote, then as the free user, your job is now done and you can go out of your vote. All right, so now we're going to move back to the functionality of the licensed user and how they can make use of the information that you as the free user have provided. Okay, so for the licensed users, you will then go back into your BarnOwl app because you have access to the Rich app. I'm just going to go into my enterprise risk management module, which is over here. You can see it says ERM, enterprise risk management. You then go back to the vote that you created. Okay, so sometimes you need to refresh. You can do a refresh over there, or if you go into any other part of BarnOwl and then go back into your register, that also acts as a refresh. Okay, so it will then tell you that your votes have been updated and it will show you a percentage of how many of your votes were submitted and all of that. Okay, I'm going to go have a look at one of my other votes over here. that I can show you that one because that one has better ratings on it. We can have a look at how you can work with that particular vote. Okay, so as you can see here, I've got annual CSA 2024. It tells me that 33% of the votes have been casted. Okay, so if I right click on my vote that I created and I say view tracking, that will show me who has submitted votes and who has not. Okay, so it says training one submitted. This person and this person did not submit votes. That's why it tells me that 33% of the votes have been casted out of the 100% that I sent this information to. Okay, so you can have a look at your tracking like that. Remember, if you have made your vote anonymous, you will not be able to see that information over there because it will just tell you user 1, user 2, user 3. You will not know who has submitted that information and who has not, or what they've rated. Okay, so I'm going to close that over there. Now, I just want to go to my control ratings so that I can show you guys what the control register looks like at present. Okay, so as you can see, my ratings for my controls that have been voted on, they don't have any ratings. They're all saying none by my adequacy. Okay, so you can see the ratings are all on none at the moment. There aren't any ratings. But now I'm going to go back to my vote that I created in my voting template register, and I'm going to have a look at the results and then pull through those results into BarnOwl. Okay, so to do that, I will go to my vote that I created, right click on it and say that I want to view my results, or I can go and close it straight away. Okay, to view your results, you go to view, and instead of choosing tracking, you choose results. Now you can see what the results are looking like at present. Okay, so I can see this is adequate for communication process. It's adequate. Control effectiveness is effective. Compensation and benefits, inadequate, ineffective. You can see all of the ratings. This is what the results are looking like from my vote. If I want to see what individual users have said for each of these items, I will just click on the plus sign next to that particular control, and then it tells me the name of the user and what their ratings were that they provided. Okay, so you can have a look at the individual users will all be listed here, and it will tell you what they said, and if they provided a comment, it will give you their comment as well. If they attached a document, it will also indicate that a document has been attached there. Okay, so you can have a look at all of that information as part of the results. You can also click on Export Register if you would like to export and download all of the results. And also you can choose to include the name of the user and what their individual results were as well. Okay, so that's how you look at your results. I'm just going to close the screen. Now, if I'm happy with the results and I want to close my vote, whether I've reached the deadline or not, I can close my vote. Okay, and I'll do that by going to the vote, right-clicking on it, and then saying Manage Status. Okay, so now I'm going to be managing my status over here. You can see my status is currently inactive because my vote is live. If I would like to close my vote or change the status, I'll just click on the drop down and change it from active to suspend if I want to put my vote on hold for a certain period, or to close if I want to close this vote completely. Okay, so here you can see we have an option to close and we have an option to close and update to BarnOwl. If I just click on close, then I'm not going to be copying the results that I've gotten in this vote into my registers in BarnOwl. I'm just going to be closing it. Maybe I'd like to download that and export those results like what I showed you guys shortly ago, a couple of seconds ago. Maybe I just want to download that sheet and save it to my computer. And then I don't want to actually overwrite what's in my register with the votes that I've received. Then you can just click on close, and that's fine. But if you want to close the vote and you want to update that information to your BarnOwl registers and overwrite the ratings that you've got there, or add ratings. As you guys saw, my ratings are currently saying none, which means I don't have any ratings at all for my controls at present. So if I want to add the ratings from the vote into that register, then I will click on close and update to BarnOwl. All right. Once you've done that, you will click on OK. And then your vote will be closed. Now, this is where the moderation of the action plans part comes in. Okay, so as a free user, remember we allowed free users to create action plans during the vote. But as a licensed user and the originator of this action plan, you can choose which of these action plans do you actually want live and which of them don't. Okay, which ones you do and which ones you don't. All right. So if I'm okay with all of these action plans and I'm okay for them to all go live, I will just tick it and then I will click on save and close. All right. You don't tick an action plan that you don't want active. All right. But if you're happy with them, you tick them and then you click on save and close. And that's how simple the moderation process is for your action plans. Okay, so it's very quick and easy to moderate those action plans that your free users have created. Now I'm going to go into my control register, okay, by clicking on view, control register. And as you can see, those ratings have now been updated. So they aren't saying none anymore. All the ratings that I received from the vote, they have been populated into my register here. Okay, so if you had multiple people voting on your controls, then the system will take an average and put that average into your control ratings. But if you've only had one person, like if you've used the control owner setting where you've chosen to only have control owners vote on their controls, then you will have the rating that that control owner or that person provided. You will have it in your register there. Okay, so that's how you pull through your result into your register and you update your registers with your free users information very easily without any issues. All right, now I'm just going to go back to our presentation over here and we're going to look at our last item. All right, so finally, we are going to look at audit findings and how we can generate a finding detail sheet to get feedback or comment from a free user. Free users are able to provide management comment and feedback on findings in audit project without a license or without even accessing BarnOwl at all. I'm going to go to my internal audit module now. As you can see, it says internal audit at the top there. All right. And I'm going to go to my project called HR Audit Project. And that's my project file organizer. And now I want to go through to my findings register. So I'm going to click on view, finding register. These are all the findings that are linked to my HR audit project. Okay, so what the system allows you to do is to get management feedback from people that are maybe going to be providing you with these details, with comments, with suggested action plans or suggested action that need to be carried out. They can provide you with all of this information into an Excel spreadsheet, and you can then just easily import it back to the system. Okay, so to do that, you need to go to your findings and you can select the findings that you would like feedback on. Now, in order to generate the sheet, you need to make sure that your findings have an owner. It's important to have an owner on your findings as well, because what the system can do is send the sheet directly through to the finding owners. Okay, so if I have Tom Smith added as my finding owner and I then select these findings and I click on send mail, it's going to send the findings and the finding information directly through to Tom Smith, and he can then provide his feedback into that Excel register for me. Okay, so you need to have an owner. If you don't have an owner for a finding, you can add yourself as an owner if you are going to generate the sheet and keep the sheet, to yourself, and then make the edits in the sheet, maybe through an interview with a manager or with the person that provides you with these management comments or feedback, and then import it back into the system. One of the new functionality that we included in one of our other versions that a lot of people have been loving here as well with the findings is that you can do a bulk assignment of owners to your findings. This is very helpful, especially if you are making use of automatic findings and you've got a long list of findings. It's very time consuming to have to go into each individual finding and add an owner. So what you can do then is you can just click on assign owners, and then you can use this option here to find the person you would like to add as an owner to all of those findings. Click on OK, and then you've added them as an owner. You can even indicate an owner type for that person as well, and then they'll be listed as the owner and they'll have a certain owner type. Okay, so once you're sure that all of your findings have an owner, you can click on send mail. You have the option to either let the system send this mail directly through to the person listed as the finding owner, or you can bypass the email and open up the Excel document that would be sent to the finding owner. You can open it up directly on your computer instead. Okay, if you choose to have it sent directly to the finding owner, you can leave it ticked as use default from address. It will then tell them that this email has come from your address that is associated with your BarnOwl account, okay, which is likely to be your work email address. Or if you'd like to specify a different email address, then you can untick the use default from address and populate the email address that you would like to use instead, okay? Otherwise, tick the use default from address and it will be sent from the address that is associated with your BarnOwl account. Or you can click on open directly, then the email will not go out at all. It'll just open up an Excel spreadsheet on your computer and you can then download and save that spreadsheet. Okay, so that does come in handy to download and save the spreadsheet if you usually would not receive feedback via email from somebody. Okay, maybe you have scheduled meetings where you sit down face to face and you discuss the individual findings and then you get feedback provided and you agree on the feedback, or maybe you would give the person a phone call and chat about it instead. Then you can export the document, open it directly, and you can still meet with the person, or you can give them a phone call. You can still discuss everything, populate the spreadsheet and save it so that you can import it. Okay, so it's entirely up to you how that process is going to work on your end. All right, so I'm going to click on open directly because I want to open the email now, or I want to open the spreadsheet now so that I can show you how it works. Okay, so I'm clicking on open directly and then I click on OK. All right, as you can see over here, let me just drag my spreadsheet. It has opened on my other screen. There we go. This is what the spreadsheet looks like. So it has the owner, the project title, and then it's got all the finding information over here. Okay, so you can see there we've got the different finding fields, and all of these finding fields, it says read only. Okay, because you can't make any changes to the fields that say read only. So even if we send this to somebody else, like a free user, and they make changes to any of this information, it's not going to update into BarnOwl with an import. Only the fields that do not say read only will be updated to BarnOwl. Okay, and yeah, we've got the standard field usually that we would have in our audit is management comments. But you can have additional fields added in here as well, like management action. That is an additional field that's been added in there. Okay, you can also add a field like management suggested action plan or management action due date that's suggested, anything like that. You can add these additional fields that your free users can populate. Okay, and it's very simple to do this. I'm going to go into my server management console now so that I can show you guys how that works. Okay, so if you're in your server management console and you go to internal audit, and then to findings over here. Okay, you can then go to your fields and it will show you all of the fields that you have listed, okay, in your system. Okay, these are all of the fields that I have in my database. You can indicate whether you want a particular field to be able to import into BarnOwl. As you can see, recommendation does not have the import box ticked. That's why you can't import recommendation information into the system. You can only, it says read only on that Excel spreadsheet because it is not an import field. Okay, so if you don't want information to be imported for certain fields, then you make sure that you don't have import ticked, and then it will become a read-only field. All right. Now, the additional fields that we have, management comment and management action, they have import ticked. And that's the reason why we can import that information into the system. If you want to add another field that won't be read-only maybe, whether you want to add a field to be read-only or not, you add it in the same way. Okay, so you just click on the drop-down and you select one of the blank fields, like field 8, 9, or 10. All right, and then you can provide a name for it. So maybe management action due date. And then you will tick all the fields that you feel are relevant. So if you want it to be read only, you won't tick import. If you want to be able to import back in the system, then you will tick the import box and then you save it. Okay, and then you will have an option to include this as well. So I'm going to click on save over there. Okay, now I'm going to go back into my internal audit so that I can show you where that field appears. Okay, so if I've now added in an additional field and I want to incorporate it into my project, I'll click on my project title and go to my finding details over here. And then I'll go to my finding fields and it lists all the fields that I've got. This is a new field that I just added, the management action due date field. That's why none of these boxes are ticked. If I want to include this in my findings in this audit that I'm working in right now as well, then I will just tick the boxes that I would like to include there. Okay, and then I will click on save and close. All right, now if I double click on my finding itself, you can see I've got that management action over there as a field as well, and management action due dates, which is the field that I just added. I've got that added in there as well. Okay, so all the fields that you add in the server management console for your findings, you will see them appear here in your finding form, and you can populate them in BarnOwl, or if you've ticked import, then you can have information imported from your Excel spreadsheet into this as well. Okay, so I'm going to close this. Now I'm going to close the spreadsheet that I generated earlier. Okay, and I'm going to generate another one with these new fields. So I'm just going to click on send file, open directly, click on OK, and you can see over here now that I've got the new field management action due date as well, and it's also not saying read only, so information can be populated there. Okay, so let's say, for example, this manager provides a comment and says, I am unhappy about this finding. Okay, I suggest investigations take place as soon as possible. And then action due date, 1st of November. That's when the investigation should take place by. Okay, so remember, any fields that you add into your finding forms, even if you add fields like actions, which some organizations choose to do, this is not related to the action plans that we looked at earlier. Okay, so if I say management action due date, this is a suggestion by management. This is not going to be a due date on a live action plan, which is what we looked at earlier. Okay, so just always remember that any additional fields that you add here are not going to be linked to an action plan. You will still link an actual action plan to these items afterwards if you would like for notifications and to measure overdue statuses and all of those things. Then you can still link an action plan to your finding as well. Okay, so I will just I've populated that information. That's how you would go about adding information to your fields there. And then you will save this document somewhere that you can find it. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to my folder over here, my sample documents folder, and I'm going to save it there. I'll save the name as newest import, so I know which one it is. And then click on save. Okay, so whether you've had a personal chat with the manager that's providing you with feedback and you populated this together, or you gave them a phone call and you typed in the information, whenever you've completed this document, you'll save it somewhere where you can find it, and then you can go out of it or close it. All right. And that's what you would now do as the free user. You would be the one populating this information. Normal Excel spreadsheet will be emailed to you from the licensed user's email address, or they will provide you with this email. They can email it to you directly. You will only populate the fields that do not say read only. All right, and then you will send this back to your licensed user, and they will be able to import the information back into the system. Okay, so now we're going to look at how you get that information back into the system as a licensed user. Once you've received the spreadsheet back, you're going to click on File within your audit project, and then you're going to go to Import Finding Data. You can use the three dots over here to search for the document, which is that one over there, and then click on Open. Okay, once you've done that, you can click on OK. It'll ask you if you're sure you want to continue, and you can say yes, and it will tell you that your imports were successful. Okay, so you need to do a refresh usually after you've imported it in order to see the information update in your registers. So I'm just going to go back into my project again. All right, I'm going into view and I'm going into my finding register. Now, if I go into my particular finding, you can see management comments have been updated, management action, the suggestion is there, and the action due date suggestion is there as well. All of the information that I populated and imported into the system will appear there, and you can view it directly in your finding form. Okay, now if you would like to link an action plan to your findings, you can do that as well by going to the finding itself, right-clicking and saying Capture Action Plan. BarnOwl will then add the title of your finding as the title of your action plan. It'll also provide your project title or your audit title as the reference. And then you can populate the rest of your fields. Okay. Once you've populated all of these fields and you click on Save and Close, it will also allow you to attach your finding details into this action plan, which is very helpful if you're going to be assigning this action plan to a free user who may not have information on the finding. Okay, so it's a good idea to click on yes. It'll ask, do you want to include your finding details in this action plan? You can click on yes, and then your action plan will be saved. Okay, so now I'm going to see if my action plan did add. There it is over there. I'm going to double click on my action plan and go to my documents. Okay, so my Word is not open at the moment, but usually what would happen is your document that you've added or you've linked to your action plan will then be attached there. So in the same way where we saw under description, our documents were attached over there. If you go into your action plan here as well, you will see that your document would be attached there as an additional document that you as a licensed user and your free user will both be able to access. So I'm just going to see, yeah, it's not there, but it will usually be added in there as a Word document. And it's all the same information that you see in your finding. Okay, so all that information, those different finding fields, they will all be listed there, and you can view that information as a free user attached to your action plan itself. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to our presentation. We have managed to get through everything that we needed to get through during our event today. In conclusion, BarnOwl's open free license enables you to embed risk management into your organization cost effectively. There are many ways that you can incorporate more of your colleagues without having to purchase additional licenses. We've looked at 3 of the most simple ways you can incorporate more users. And as you can see, BarnOwl's free user functionality is very easy to use without needing training. So your free users don't really need to attend training in order to be able to complete the finding import document or to respond to an action plan or even to vote or extract their voting information for you. It's very, very simple. Okay, so that is all that we needed to cover during our event today. I hope some of that information was helpful to you. We are now going to move over to our Q&A session. Okay, so we'll move over to our Q&A session. If there was anything that you posted in the chat box that wasn't attended to yet, you're more than welcome to unmute yourself. We're now going to allow all mics to be unmuted. You can unmute yourself. If you need to, lift your hand, ask a question, and we will then attend to that as well. Okay, so I see we do already have one hand up. Iyanolua, can you unmute yourself? You're more than welcome to ask your question.
All right, thank you very much. This has been a very insightful session, and I believe we've all learned a lot from this. I just have one question. As a free or open free license user, is there a way we could add risks to the risk register? For instance, now you work in, for instance, you work in an organization where you have about 50 departments, and it's a fast-paced organization, and at least 2 risks are being added or being modified every week. So there's a high volume of additional number of risks, and the number of license users are, let's say, just maybe 3 or 4. So it's going to be a daunting task for the license users to update every risk every week for all across these departments. So is there a way open license users or maybe the risk focused persons could add risks through the web via the web interface, and then after these risks have been added, they can be moderated by the license users?
Okay. Which organization are you from, Inyalua?
Okay, I'm from Egbe Power.
Okay. So I think your account manager would be able to provide you with additional information on this as well. Unfortunately, free users cannot just add risks or any items directly into the register. We do have a workshop module, which allows you to be able to have sort of a workshop setting where everyone is able to provide information on risks and controls, and you can link items like that into the system through workshop, sort of. We then also have another option in using imports, which we don't readily suggest that you constantly use imports to get information into the system. It's always best to get that information directly into BarnOwl itself. But another option, if you really had to, would be to use an import, where you could then have your users provide that information in import templates and then pull that through into the system if you had no other choice. Otherwise, we do obviously have limited licenses that are more cost effective than the main rich license, such as the BarnOwl Lite license, that will allow your users to access the web and to add items like risks and controls and link all of those items as well. Okay, but I think if you could please just post your email address in the chat box as well, we can have a look at what would be the best thing for you and what might help you and your organization and provide you with guides or point you in the right direction. And your account manager can also have a chat with you to try and see how we can make things work for you. Okay.
All right, thanks. Noted.
Okay. Are there any other questions or anything in the chat box. I'm going to try and have a look at the chat box and see if there's anything that needs to be responded to over there. I think everything has been attended to. Cynthia, I see that you have your hand up. You can go ahead.
Great, and everyone on the line, I hope this is related to your training today. When you do the voting for adequacy or effectiveness of controls, does it automatically change the residual risk rating? Because I've been wondering what happens to the rating of the risk after you've assessed or rated the controls.
Okay. Cynthia, which organization are you from?
I am from SARS.
Okay, so your account manager can also help you more with this if you need assistance. But when it comes to, I must actually check who your account manager is. I'm not sure. But when it comes to your ratings, okay, you definitely will have your residual ratings updated based on your controls if you've pulled them through. Okay, so if you've had a vote and everyone has voted and you've decided to use those ratings to overwrite your risk register, and you have AutoCalc set, which means you have a formula in place to say that your controls are supposed to update your residual ratings in a certain way, then it will definitely change your residual ratings after those control ratings have been pulled through. Okay, if you don't have AutoCalc set and you've got your residual rating set to manual, then even if you've added controls or linked controls to your risk, whether you've done it in BarnOwl manually or you've pulled through control ratings in a vote, it's not going to update your residual ratings. Okay, so if you want your residual ratings to be updated automatically for you, then you need to change your formula in your server management console. You can just send through an email to support. Your account manager will be able to help you or guide you through the process of updating your formula. If we need to set up a quick Teams call with you in order to assist you with that, we can as well. So please just send through an email to support or drop your email address in the chat box, and then we can get back to you to assist you with updating the residual rating formula if that's what you need.
Thank you so much, Jade. I think that will be helpful. Thanks.
Great. Okay. Thanks, Cynthia. Any other questions? Okay, I'm not seeing any other hands up. If your question was missed in the chat box, please unmute yourself and ask your question so that we can respond to you. Okay, I don't see anything else. Nothing else from my end. I don't have anything further to add. Just a reminder that we have recorded the session, and we will make sure that the recording is available to you on our website in a few days. We will put it up there so you can access it. Any of your colleagues who missed the session will be able to access or view the recording as well for guidance. Any free users that you have may find this recording useful as well if they're not sure how to respond to a vote or how to attend to an action plan. You can refer them to this video and it will guide them as well. Okay, thanks a lot, guys, for your time. If anything else does pop up, if you have any other questions that you maybe didn't think of now during our Q&A session, please feel free to send an email through to support. It will be directed to the correct person that can help you, and we want to make sure that you're able to use BarnOwl as best as you possibly can. Okay, thank you, everybody. Have a good afternoon and a good weekend from tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank